Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for Breaking Bad. So I don't normally do this, but recently, as a result of quarantine, I have been watching a lot more television. And it started out kind of with old shows that were a bit older, like Twin Peaks or Breaking Bad, or shows that have already seen their conclusion. And then I started getting interested in a lot of the modern shows that are considered big Emmy contenders, like The Morning Show, or Schitt's Creek, or Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, or Succession. So, as a result of all of that, I decided that this year I am going to start reviewing television. And I'm going to start out by reviewing a couple older ones that aren't as recent, like Breaking Bad and Twin Peaks. But then as I watch seasons of shows that are considered Emmys, contenders, I will be reviewing those as well. So, we are going to start off these new batch of TV reviews with Breaking Bad. So this series started in 2008 and concluded in 2013, and it has Bryan Cranston in it, and it's about him as a chemistry teacher who becomes interested in selling meth. So he reunites with one of his younger students, and they begin to cook meth, and a lot of crazy things go down as a result of that. Breaking Bad is probably the most well-reviewed TV show in history. And I don't know how one could really argue with that. If you go to any website, you will see that Breaking Bad is usually listed in at least the top 3, but usually the first spot in terms of television shows. And I think I understand that to a certain extent because Breaking Bad kind of revolutionized television in the way that it kind of made it so that each episode felt like its own movie. And it's really hard to do that. Breaking Bad is 2.5 days of content. And that's something with TV that I have to get used to, that it's not 2 hours or 3 hours, it is days long usually, or if not days long, at least multiple hours long. And to fit so much conflict and so much story into 2.5 days of content is extremely impressive. And Breaking Bad never lets up on every single episode. You wouldn't believe the heights and lengths that this movie goes to get conflict. And at a basic level, story is conflict. It's the result of characters disagreeing or something bad happening and people having to react to it. And Breaking Bad understands that so well, and as a result, it feels like every single episode is loaded with conflict and thrills, and it's not like there's a single episode that even lets up. It's really hard to find a bad episode of Breaking Bad. The worst episode in my opinion was Fly, which is an episode where Walter White has to try to kill a fly because he's freaking out about it and it contaminating the meth. And even an episode like that felt like filler, there was still quite a bit of emotion that was put into it, and even quite a bit of thrills. They're killing a fly. Like, it's the most basic thing that you could have, and yet I genuinely felt suspense around them trying to kill this fly. And it's not like suspense is the only emotion present, though. This show also gets very emotional with its characters. Now the thing is, I'm not saying anything new about Breaking Bad. This is a really hard show to review because basically everybody has said everything about the show that you possibly can. Its character arcs are genius. The way that it takes really the principal cast of characters, Walter, Skyler, Hank, and Hank's wife, I forget her name right now, and Hank Jr., the way that you see them progress throughout the storyline and their character arcs are fascinating. And you feel certain ways about them, and then the next episode you could feel a completely and entirely different way. It's genius in the way that it's written, and it's baffling to me because it wasn't written by one person. Vince Gilligan legitimately is a fantastic executive producer because he had to oversee every single episode of this show and make sure that it was on the same level of quality that every other episode was. And he did that so well. My only problem with Breaking Bad, which is just kind of like a slight problem, was I felt like in the middle of season 2, 3, and 4, really, I kind of felt it dragging at certain points. Not really dragging, but just kind of to the point where I felt like there was more to come, and the show was kind of slowly pushing towards that. But by the time you get to the end of each season, usually the beginning and ends were just so strong. And especially the end of season 5, you have like the best episodes of television ever there. Ozymandias, everyone's talked about it, is absolutely in my top 5 TV episodes of all time. In fact, I'd probably put it at number 2 with Free Churro from BoJack Horseman being at number 1, because I genuinely have not felt so much suspense in my entire life, and I don't want to spoil what happens in it because this is a spoiler for your review, but it's all about suspense. It's all about thrills, and it doesn't sacrifice thrills for emotion. You still care about characters, and even if it's subplots of a character looking at houses and trying to act like a different person, or it's a subplot of a character brewing beer in their house, it's just as suspenseful and just as investing as the meth cooking that Walter is doing. And to have a show that has so much conflict coming from action and from drug smuggling, and then to go to suburban life and show it in a way that is also fascinating is absolutely genius. This show in general is just genius. I think it's my second favorite TV show of all time. I love it 100%. And I am going to give Breaking Bad a 9.8 out of 10. Alright, that concludes my review for Breaking Bad. So, what are your thoughts on the show, or what did you think of the follow-up movie, El Camino? Let me know in the comments below. I will give my quick, brief thoughts on El Camino. I thought it was okay. It wasn't a necessary conclusion, in my opinion, and just because it wasn't necessary doesn't mean that it was bad. It just felt like I didn't need to see it, and as a result, I just kind of got bored while watching it. But those are my general thoughts about the whole series. I can't wait to watch Better Call Saul because I want more from this universe, and I want more, especially from Saul Goodman. I thought he was a really interesting character. So, that concludes my review. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.